Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the official PokerStars channel. We're live once again. It's Tuesday, and we're going to play some Spin Goes today, as per usual. Gosh, got to focus on the decisiones here. All right, once we hit the king here, we're going to probably play it nice and slow. Our opponent is very incentivized to represent a king on this texture when we limp call. I don't think in this situation we check raise too much in this spot. So I'm gonna go with my initial plan here, and I'm just going to check call. We have this guy marked in blue. I do believe that this individual is probably a reg though. Queen of spades in hand is quite useful here because it means they don't have like queen 10 of spades that often, or like ace queen of spades. So I think we just call again and then we let him barrel off on the riv, and hopefully we get this one right. We will be calling 3 barrels here, obviously, guys. Hand's a bit too strong to be folding on the river here. Yeah, wish me luck. Perfect. Feel good about betting this one. A lot of times, even if we do get called here, we'll have at least 2 of our cards to the 8 or the 5. The 9's not a particularly great card to barrel on because they will have straight draws that contain a 9. So maybe we take a free card and consider the river when we get there. Should be a good river for us, yeah, absolutely. And then I think we probably kind of polarize here. Just bet, 75% pot. Hope to still get looked at by, 7-9 or something like that. Seems pretty reasonable. Nice. He turns up here with Jack 9 offsuit. So like I said, plenty of 9x there. Good slowdown on the turn. Good execution on the river to try and get max when we get lucky. Potentially, it might have been a little bit over aggressive. But, aggression is very frequently rewarded like that. Interesting one here, guys. We can definitely have the best hand with the 5. We have the hearts as backup, so I am kind of tempted to call the turn and see what happens on the river. Should be a pretty good river, right? Kind of similar situation. We're trying to probably polarize here again. It's pretty hard for them to fold any heart at this point, so yeah, nice big bet there, getting paid. Calls us here with 4-3 with the 4 of hearts. So it did in fact have the straight on the turn, like I said. If we get to the river and they continue barreling, I think we can give them credit for having the straight though, so we're not always going to end up doing chips there. And then I think we just bet once with the intention of calling a shove. Worse, some 3x, worse 4x, we'll still shove here. So, we have to have a plan there. If we're going to play these like really shallow stack pots, I think it's important that we understand what we're going to do in those situations. So yeah, Renan, look, I get where you're coming from, but I think the like I keep saying, the devil is in the details, because I do think that there's a lot of spots that mathematically seem like they're unavoidable, but actually with the correct adjustment against opponents, there's like such a big edge there. I say big edge, in spins. Even a little small edge is a really big edge because it's such a game of fine edges anyway. I'm glad you approved, Arrow. Yo, Noons, what's up? Welcome back. Do we double barrel here? Okay, this is actually not the worst run out for us. Definitely some ace high hero calls here. Having the 9 isn't really so great, but having the spade is cool. Might look up Nazgul here, to be honest. All right, wish me luck, guys. Yeah, good call. There's a lot that goes into that call. We'll talk about it in a sec, guys. All of the math that we did regarding all of the results that we sort of aggregated together indicate a very strong probability of a significant win rate, especially if you get through enough volume where you hit a good multiplier. All right, we might get lucky here. Hit the 9. So again, as we get shallower, 10-9 suited just becomes a jam. It was a very different spot from when we were 10 big blinds effective, though, because the shallower we become, the more closely we're going to play to push fold. And then queen 4 suited, very easy push for about 5 big blinds effective. That's a good flop for queen 4 diamonds. It's a good turn, too. Nice. All right, cool. So let's take a look at some of these spots because there were some really, really good ones here. And so this is a really interesting spot. Let's go back into the big blinds here. So Nazgul is on the shorter side here. We raise the ace-9, pretty standard. We get called, totally fine. I think betting this flop for 1 big blind is super standard. Jack-8 deuce, it's not super connected. We're not shallow to the point where we're going to get check raised super aggressively on this drier texture, so I think I like it a lot. On the turn, like I said, I think barreling again is a little bit tricky because it's hard to get an 8 to fold. We don't really have the kind of hand that is going to inspire lots of like folds on the river either. Like we don't have great blocker potential at this point anyway. So let's just go ahead and just check turn. Having the 9 here sucks because we want him to have hands like 10-9 that might fold or like 7-9 that might fold. Having the 9 here is actually quite relevant for us not to want to bet the turn. That's important. Okay. On the river, we get to this point. Now, when the board pairs, it makes it a little bit harder for our opponent to have an 8. Our opponent can still have a jack, but they will have all of those weird straight draws. And it's important to remember that, like, if he has a deuce, there's a really good chance he's not turning that into a bluff. If he has a 5, he's probably going to try and get to a showdown as well. I'm trying to think of a 5. Like, maybe he has... I'm trying to think of a 5 that makes sense. Like king 5 of hearts, where you've got like king high and the backdoor hard draw. That seems like it might be part of that range, actually. So, okay, whatever. Deuce isn't going to bluff. 5 isn't going to bluff. So I think when people look at spots like this and they see me make calls like this, what they're doing is they're going, but you're like losing to any deuce and you're losing to any 5. And like, oh yeah, what if he has this? And what if he has that? What if he has, you know, 10s? Well, we can immediately take out most of the pairs because loads of the pairs at this stack depth will just be all in pre-flop. Maybe aces and kings might flat pre and then they would play the same way. That seems fine, but that's like a tiny part of the range. There's not that many combos, right? There's way more combinations that are just weird gut shots and similar in this situation. So when we arrive at the river, like I said, having the 9 kind of sucks because we are blocking some of those gut shots and those straight draws that need to bluff the river the way that they do here. But then we also have the ace of spades, which makes it a little bit less likely that our opponent will turn up here with the backdoor spades as well. The ace of spades isn't as good of a blocker as others, though, and that's an important point here because I think people get really confused about like the use of a blocker because in reality, having like if we have like queen 9 offsuit here with the queen of spades. The queen of spades is probably a much, much more significant blocker than the ace of spades because we don't anticipate him to have too many suited ace combos that get to the river like this anyway. I suppose it does account for something, but it's so much better to have a smaller spade here as a blocker if you want to make a hero call because then you're blocking, like for example, if we have the 9 of spades, that is blocking both the straight draws and the backdoor flush draws, but it's doing both in tandem, and it's blocking part of the combination that might make sense, like, you know, queen 9 with the 9 of spades. That queen 9 with the 9 of spades actually might end up being like a reasonable bluff catcher in this situation, believe it or not. How about maybe we have king 9 with the king of spades? Maybe the king high call with the 9 of spades is actually a better bluff catcher here than ace 9 of spades. In any case, it's a good run out. We make the good call. There you go. Next game. All right, 1, 2, 5. Let's go. I'm calling a shove here. All right, wish me luck, guys. Nice. Definitely taking a push here with the ace-6. Can we win the flip for the 1, 2, 5? Unfortunately not. That was for the 1, 2, 5. Queen jack suiting. Technically, we're supposed to call a shove here once we limp, but we'll see how we feel. Again, I don't think I know this guy particularly well, so it can be a tricky one to navigate. And we have a boat. I think smaller is better. Oh man, this is so sick. I mean, look, I think we're calling. I feel like they could do this with missed diamonds potentially, or a missed straight draw. It could be quads, of course. But there you go. Hilarious. We were crushing him on the turn. Value bet that turn with the queen jack. All right. Off to the races here, guys, for the 1-2-5. The run bad continues, gang. We're actually playing pretty good poker today. Ace queen, let's go. Wow, ace 9. Do not do that. Is that reasonable, chat? Is that at all reasonable? I think that was a pretty good spot. What do you guys think about that? Let me just let me just get this straight here really quick, guys. Let me get this straight. So there's a limp on the button for 10 bigs. This guy is shoving 38.5, which actually I don't mind. I think this is probably fine with this combo. We get in with ace queen. This guy back calls with ace 9. 51.2% in a three-way pot. Is this reasonable? All right, queens up for grabs. Are queens any good? Excuse me? But basically, if you look at that chart, you can shove according to that and you become, quote unquote, unexploitable. Any deviation from that means that your opponents can have different strategies to counter what you're actually trying to do there. That's a pretty good turn. So, anyway, long story short, if you look at that, you can see it. You know, aside from all the extra yapping that I'm doing right now, that will basically tell you what hands you can push fold. Now, because the game is simplified, you obviously don't just want to shove aces. That's not an instructional guide, right? The best way to play aces at 25 big blinds effective is not going to be play push fold, right? But as we get much shallower, we do better there in these situations. We're getting check raised. It's a really good turn. He could have a boat, I guess, but whatever. Nice. That was a really good game for us. Napa is asking what is my chip EV. So the last time I did the math, which was around, which was about 2 weeks ago, last week, I had an average chip EV of 51 chips per game across all stakes, which is of course including some of the lower stake stuff that we do. At the 25s, I think my chip EV is something in the region of 40. So we're going to float. And if it comes to club like that, we're going to find a lead. That works, right? Yep. And then we're going to run it, guys. Wish me luck. I'm going to try and rep the clubs / the straights. King Queen is a little bit harder to rep here, though, given the pre-flop action, but we're going to go for it regardless. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Add to marked hands. Call the shove here for sure. Oh my god, what is he doing? That is an ultra meme, and also we can definitely go ahead and make some notes on this guy for moving forward. So there's a day one on the Thursday and the Friday. Do you know how many entries we're allowed to have each day? Alucard. 10. Well, that was pretty nice. I want to go back and look at that one as well, guys. This is not good. And I think we need to just shove. Wish me luck, guys. We're limping a6. If he shoves, we're going to call. If he does that, I am tempted to just jam. Probably best this way, guys. Wish me luck. Here we go. It's a good move. Whew, we are running so bad today. Jesus. Our last game here against Nazgul. Let's see. Ah, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, the suited connectors. Yeah, so that is really, in all honesty, extremely important to know. Like in lots of situations, from a push fold perspective, suited connectors are very, very valuable push fold tools. And if you aren't implementing that in your existing games, then you're missing lots and lots of value. Lots and lots and lots of value. Unlucky Nazgul, just a cold deck, buddy. Sorry about that. All right, we will be check raising this board. If they're gonna miss the flop bet, we're gonna go big on the turn. Snap fold, okay. Didn't even want to give me a C bet apparently. Gonna trap with the ace-10. Shove it in his face. Beautiful trap. Wonderful tramp. So enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you guys have a fantastic Tuesday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at some point for something, and then on Thursday for Chat Pro Poker Show. Love you all very much. Signing off for now. See you guys next time.